Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the What the Football channel. This is the BH and Scrubber Show. And on today's show, we are going to be covering the new schedule that just came out. And we're going to cover some of the new rules that have just come out, too. And so it wouldn't be the BH and Scrubber Show without our boy BH. Welcome, BH.
Hey, man. Thank you very much. Yeah, good to be here. Got our draft done, got our undrafted free agents, got some rookie camp, some of those OTAs. Everything's just moving right along. And I think the good news, too, is they've got some new scouting directors in. A couple stole from some good young guys from other teams. And that's good. We knew that was going to happen because with everything going on, we had to use scouts from the old regime. But now we're moving on. The schedule's come out. I like the schedule. I don't know how hard or difficult it is. What are people saying?
Well, it looks to me like we're like tied for 16th with like two other teams. So that kind of puts us as close to the middle as you can get. This still seems like it lines up funny, so it makes it more difficult than it would seem if you just looked at the teams. Those teams are all beatable, but the way it lines up, it makes it a little like more difficult. So we got a decent preseason. Should be interesting. Going to play the Jets first out. That's Aaron Rodgers and gang. And that'll be an away game. Then the Dolphins. That'll be a tough game. That's an away game. And then our first home preseason game will be on a Sunday night, August 25th against the Patriots. So that should be interesting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Shoot, that might end up being just the last game of the preseason then, probably.
It is.
Wow.
Only 3 preseason games. So Jets, Dolphins, Patriots.
Cool. And I did hear that we're going to be doing some combined practice with the Dolphins, too.
Cool.
So that's I think teams do that a lot. A team that they're going to play in preseason, they'll practice together and get out there so they can kind of work some things out. So yeah, this will be preseason for me is like a snooze fest, pretty boring. But this year it's a big deal, man. New regime, new coaching, a new quarterback. So pretty exciting for us to see just some of the schemes, no matter who's in there, first string or eighth string, to see how they scheme up, to see how their approach will be for us and our fans be very exciting.
Yeah.
So this year preseason will mean something.
Hell yeah, dude. I like the preseason. To me, it probably means a little bit more to me than most people do. I think it's setting the bar and, like you said, watching the new regime and all that. If you're losing all 3 of your preseason games, that doesn't bode well for you. If you're winning them, it probably looks pretty good. So, So the first game of the season is going to be against Tampa Bay. In Tampa Bay. I might even be able to go to that one. I don't know. I'm thinking about it.
Cool. Man, that would be cool. Yeah, that was a little tougher than I expected. I think on the wish list, I would have, maybe I could think of some other teams, but, it could have been worse. They could have sent us to Baltimore on the first game. Right. Which, I'm not afraid of having a tough first game under normal conditions. But like we said before, these players are working. Even the veterans are under a new scheme. Either the vets that came back from, last year's squad are under a new scheme. And Bobby Wagner and some of those guys, despite working under coach, it's kind of new for everybody. I mean, everyone's almost kind of a rookie in a way. Mm-hmm. So, but I don't think this one is that brutal. Tampa Bay's got a solid team, so I think that's good. They'll challenge us, but I think we'll get a really good idea of what our team's about in that game.
Yeah, it's in Tampa. It's going to be hot.
Yes,
I'm here in Florida. It's still hot. September or whatever, September 8th.
Oh hell yeah!
It's still going to be 85 degrees, and so the boys will just have to get used to it. It's a late afternoon game, and believe it or not, that's when it's hottest.
Oh yeah,
no
hot and humid, baby.
Next up will be the against the Giants.
Yeah. Giants at home.
Yeah.
So I like that for a season opener. The Giants are trying to figure things out, and they're a division rival. I once again, I think, I think we're further ahead than they are in many ways. I like what we're doing better. So they let Saquon go, and they're still going with Danny
Yeah,
Dimes.
Danny
So,
Dimes.
although he has hurt us in many ways, but I
Yeah,
think our new defensive scheme and our new defensive philosophy is put the kibosh on him.
they picked up a couple good receivers though.
They did.
So
Yeah, they did. They got, for sure, Malik Neighbors, their first round pick, is a stud,
yeah,
which they needed. That was one team where I couldn't predict it 100% who they were going to pick, but I was pretty much 100% knew they were going to get a receiver, man. They just had to.
yeah,
So,
yeah, and it could put pressure on our. If we got Emmanuel Forbes or somebody like it could put pressure on our defensive back. So that
yeah,
one scares me a little bit. Let's see who's next. The Bengals. So we
tough
travel
game.
to the Bengals, and that's a is that a Monday night game?
Monday night. Yeah. So that's
Ouch.
that's fun. We're going to be on Monday night, ABC, but man, that is a team that's going to be a test. So
Yeah,
that,
Joe
that, that
Burrow
will,
and the gang.
yeah, that'll be a challenge, man. That's a team that's not rebuilding or learning new schemes. They're pretty tested and ready. It'll be the third game of the season, so we're going to find out a lot in that game. That'll be the third game of the season. It'll be, Jaden Daniels will have 2 games under his belt. Everyone will have
Yeah.
2 games under their belt. So, yeah, that will be something else.
And they're part
Now,
of that regime that we have to play this year. We play our division twice each. That's 6 games. We play the AFC North, which is the Bengals, Baltimore, the Browns, and Pittsburgh.
yep,
The the NFC South, and then a couple other teams. So that's a tough division to play against. Those are tough teams. That's a part of the schedule that I thought made it really difficult on us. So
yeah, I totally agree. They kind of gave us a break with the NFC South, but yeah, that AFC North, man, that's probably the hardest by far.
but after that, we're going to be traveling. It's the farthest we have to travel, and that's to Arizona to play the Cardinals. So, and that's Cliff Kingsbury. He used to coach that team. So,
Yep,
be helpful.
sure did. Didn't work out for him there, but he did a pretty good job. I mean, when he took on who's Kyler Murray, I think he was the rookie of the year. So he did a pretty good job in that regard.
Yeah.
I think Cliff's problem was sort of like coach's problem, that when they had their coaching opportunity, they continued to coach and call plays on their side of the ball. I think they both got a little overwhelmed in that, and it kind of led to. I mean, Kingsbury came out and said it. He admitted, man, that was like having 2 jobs, and it's coaches already 16 hours a day. So yeah, that'll be good. I mean, and I like it. You know what I like about that is Cincinnati, that time of year, going there early is good.
Yeah.
You don't want to go to Cincinnati in late December. Arizona's in a dome.
Yep.
So I don't care if it's September 29th, bro. It's Arizona. Still be 95 degrees.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll be in the dome. So
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that should be a good game. Hoping for a dub there.
Yep.
Then the next game is going to be the Browns are coming to town. Another one of those AFC North teams. So they got a really good team too. That's going to be another tough one, but it's at home. Let's hope that, by this game, everything is starting to smooth out and take on the Browns.
Yep, I agree. So that's a standard 1:00 game. We're going to have a lot of those. So that's a game we can win. I mean, they are a solid team, but they're not over the top. Unlike the team we're playing the next week.
Ouch.
Our friends, the Ravens, and it's at Baltimore.
Yeah.
Well, the good news is it's a short trip.
Mm-hmm.
Bus ride, baby. So, but yeah, there's a team like Cincinnati. We talked about it. That's 2 tough road games there, Cincinnati and Baltimore. I mean, those teams are set. They're playoff teams. They're going to be, I'm pretty sure they're both going to be, fighting for a playoff. So that's a tough team. So
yeah, we had a little bit of rivalry with them when we did our preseason stuff with them. I think we did some co-practices with them, and things got a little heated. So there's
Yeah.
a slight rivalry going on there, especially being in the same general area
Yeah.
in there. So there's a little bit of a rivalry going on. Happy about that.
Sure. Yep.
And then get a slight break the following week. We're going to be playing the Panthers at home. Phew. Bryce Young.
Yep.
Panthers. I don't know.
Yeah,
They're ranked around 32
Oh yeah.
constantly. So let's hope for a dub there.
Yeah, we're kind of getting this part of the schedule, get a bit of a break, get to go home. Not a long, we don't have a big trip going to Baltimore, so kind of a break there. We get to come home and then we go back to back Carolina and Chicago.
Yeah.
So, Carolina's struggling. Chicago's sort of in the same boat as us, doing good. Arrows pointing up, rookie quarterback. So that'll be a good game, but I think it'll be like a break for us in the schedule. Not playing someone as brutal as some of these other teams.
Although last year, man, the Bears fucking handed it to us, man. They smoked us. And,
Yep.
And they've got who they got this year? They got Caleb, right?
Yep.
They picked
Romo Dunes. They
yeah.
got that rookie receiver who's a stud. So they got him and their other receiver. What's his name? Man, I forgot. Oh, what's his name? That's the beginning of, that was like the beginning of Forbes's barbecue.
No.
Yeah. Oh, no, it was the other guy. DJ Moore?
DJ Moore.
Yeah, DJ Moore, like, just killed us. And then they wouldn't help Forbes out.
Right.
And he just kept murdering us. And, everyone in the world is screaming for help over the top. But, our coaches, they did not know how to have in-game, changes or anything. They just stuck by it and watched the guy get crushed.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I had like 200 yards or something. I mean, the guy went nuts. So that was a bad game. So
yeah,
we have to rectify that situation.
Hell yeah. And then the following week, another 1:00 game, New York Giants. That'll be being played in New Jersey, not where their stadium is.
Yeah. They play in Jersey.
Ugh.
Jersey.
Crazy.
I know. Yep. So, we'll be going there. So like I said, the time's good. The trip is short.
Right. We have, we talked about this the other day, travel distance for a team. So we as the Commanders travel the least amount of distance of any team in the NFL this year. It's only like 10,000 something miles compared to like the Chargers and I think like Miami and Seattle. Those teams are like way on the West Coast, so they got to travel a lot. Miami down in southern Florida, they got to travel a lot. They're traveling like 26,000 miles. We're even less than half of the mileage than some of these guys. So that's a pretty good feature of the schedule for us.
Yeah, that is. So, so after we go to New Jersey, home against the Steelers. Oh my goodness!
Yeah, looking forward to that one.
They've done some changes. Pittsburgh is never too far out of it, even if they miss the playoffs. There's somehow the last 20 years they always manage to scrape back and they're back in. Things never fall too far apart with that team. So that'll be a fun game, man. That'll be a great game to call.
Yep, that's Russell Wilson running the show. If he's still quarterbacking by that point,
who knows? Yeah, they got what's his name? Yeah, they got
because who's the other guy that came from Chicago?
Yeah, they got I can't remember his name, but yeah. I mean, he'll be sitting there. He's chomping at the bit. He's going to want to play.
Hell yeah.
So, and now this is an interesting part of the schedule. So at least we play the Steelers at home, but then we have a short week, man, and got to go to Philadelphia.
Ouch.
Yeah.
And is that a Monday night game or a Thursday? Thursday night.
That's right? Thursday. So yeah, we got a short week. Now the only good thing about that is we're playing the Eagles, and we know them. We know their schemes. They're set. Their coaching staff, their schemes. We have a good idea of what they do. and how they attack and how they approach the game. So that's good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you don't have a lot of time for film and for, a lot of stuff, like game planning is a lot easier. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah,
that's one of those Thursday night games. That's one of those, I think it's on Amazon Prime.
It is.
Luckily for us, most of our games, if you get ABC, CBS, Fox, most of our games are there. This is the only one that is on one of them funny channels. So,
Yep.
I mean, to watch football anymore, you got to have Peacock. Now you got to have, who is it? Netflix is doing a Christmas thing. NFL Network, if you want to watch some things. Amazon Prime, ESPN. How much money are you shelling out if you want to be able to see every single game? It's it's just not right. Do they want people to watch football or not? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? It's getting to the point, dude, where if you add all that up, then you end up going to just buying NFL ticket.
Yeah.
I mean, if your whole thing is football, now I'm lucky, because my wife, she uses Amazon. We get the Amazon TV stuff and we watch shows and movies, but we get she likes to order and ship. Like we do Christmas, we do birthday gifts, we order stuff, so we get top tier delivered the next day. We want to return something, so we already have it. We already have Netflix, so in a way, that's okay for me. But to your point, I mean, I've said the same thing as you. You start adding all that stuff up, and it's a giant chunk. When we all used to watch it for free.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, crazy. So anyway, but that'll be a challenge. Now the only so on the flip side of having that short week, hey, guess what? We get a longer week, and we play at home against Dallas, our rivals. So Dallas is great to play because not only do you get a win, but you get to knock them down. And at that point in the season, who knows, man, you might be able to kill their playoff chances. Even though it's still early in the season, they could be falling further and further behind by then.
They seem to be a team on the decline. I mean, we stole, some pretty good players from them. Dak, they seem desperate when they bring Zeke back. I mean, that just seems like a desperation move. They said they were all in, and you just look at what they did, and hell, they didn't do anything. So,
and then they got to me, man, they got an old school, washed up defensive coordinator, man. Zimmer, that's a guy that wears on his players quickly. And I saw an interview. They said, "Hey, do you go up in the booth or you on the field?" And he goes, "Oh no, I like being on the field, man. I'm going to grab them guys when they mess up. I want to grab them right away when they come to the sideline." Like, oh, dude, I mean, you and I, we want guys to be held accountable, but he had a big old smile on his face, and I've seen him. He really turns a lot of his players off. People talked a lot about a toxic thing when he was the head coach at Vikings. They were sick of him, man.
Good.
He just kind of had a weird time. When they hired him, I'm like, but you know what? Look at McCarthy. He's a retread. Look at Ron. Ron's a retread. What did he do? He hired another retread.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So we got Del Rio right out of the retread factory. And that's sort of like Dallas, to your point. That's why they're trending down. They're making bad calls and getting Zeke. Dude. Well, that's why we have Eugene Shen.
Yeah.
Because if we went back to go get an older player, Eugene go, no, dude, no. That's a 1% chance of that working out. I just did the analytics. Don't do it. But they are not working on analytics. They're just going by a gut feeling. They have a gut feeling that Zimmer will work out. They have a gut feeling that what's his name is going to come back and be the old running back they used to have.
You can't run a football team grasping at the good old days.
Nope.
You can't do that. You got to move.
Ain't going to work. That's right.
Sweet. So, and then the next week, starting in December, it's going to be at home against the Titans. So they're pretty far down on the power rankings as well. They're a struggling team. If we don't get the job done against the Cowboys the week before, maybe this is a chance to redeem ourselves the following week against them.
Yeah. It's once again, it's a late buy, and then curiously, it is 3 seasons in a row having a week 14 buy. That
Yeah. Weird.
weird, very weird. Don't understand it, but that's the schedule is what it is, and you learn to live with it. But hey, man, playing the Titans before you get your buy,
Yeah.
they should be fired up, and they should be able to just curb stomp them and then enjoy a nice long bye week.
Yep. And then come back from that bye week to another NFC South team against the Saints.
Yep.
Who's there? They just hired their new guy. Who's their quarterback? Is it Cousins?
No. Cousins went to Atlanta. No, they still got Carr,
Oh, Derek Carr. That's right.
and that's a meh kind of a thing. So for me, this is good. New Orleans, a team, some good, some bad. They're not the Eagles. They're not the Steelers. They're beatable. What I like coming out of a bye and going on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, because being at home is good if you've been traveling and you're having hard. If your next game's at home, get to stay at home, stay with family, small commute. I get that, but hey, you just had the bye, dude.
Yeah.
You've had days off, so going on a road trip to New Orleans, piece of cake.
Yep.
So I like that.
And hopefully after that piece of cake game, we come back home to the Eagles again.
Tough game.
Yep.
Yep. At least it's at home. That's one good thing.
Yep.
But here now we're at crunch time, dude. Coming off this bye, we got 4 teams. We said New Orleans, the Eagles. That's going to be tough. Our playoff hopes. I mean, really, on that game, December 22nd. That could make or break us even by that point.
Yeah, definitely. So, especially a division team.
Yep.
You got to win your division, or you got to be pretty high up in your division. So
you do.
That's all there is to it.
Yep.
All right. So after the Eagles, we go down to it's at home.
Yep.
Falcons are coming to FedEx Stadium. So.
Yep. Hey, and you know what? Now that's one game where I hope it is rainy and cold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Send a dome team to the East Coast, man, during a blizzard. I like that. That's one time where we can take advantage of that home field and get a dome team out there. Take advantage of it. Yeah, they got Kirk Cousins, so he's a solid quarterback. I don't know about it. We know about him. By then, he should be completely 100% healed. But they drafted the kid Michael Penix, so who knows what happens by then? We'll see. But I don't know who's going to be quarterbacking.
Yeah, I mean, if Cousins gets hurt, I think Penix could step in and do easily a serviceable job. So
without a doubt, yeah.
And a lot of people rave about him, and so I think he's good enough to just take over the reins and keep the thing going. So
I agree.
That brings us to the last game of the year. We're against the Cowboys.
Yeah.
This is what, the 3rd year in a row or something?
Something like that. And once again, at least we're going to play inside. That's nice to play inside in January. January, what is it? January 5th. The 5th. So yeah, I'd take that. I would hate to go to Cincinnati on January 5th.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Hell with that. So big game, and that could be the make it or break it. That might be the play to get in game.
Yeah. So, it makes it exciting. That's what you want.
Yep. You want that chance to go head to head to get in, and you might need someone else to do something, but at least you either control or semi-control your destiny. So, well, to your point, man, that's not an easy schedule.
No,
even though it's middle of the road, there's some real challenges out there, man. Some real challenges.
The only saving grace there is that there are other teams that really do have really tough schedules. So the Eagles got a tough schedule. The Cowboys got a tough schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that helps.
They do. A lot. So, well, looking forward to it, man. Yeah. I mean, a lot of good games and a lot of 1 o'clock games. So I think we'll be fine.
Yep. Let's see. I got any more notes on here? No more notes on the schedule, but we can talk just briefly about some of the new rules if you want. Just to start off with the hip drop tackle. I just think that's just going to be a debacle. It's It's going to be hard to call it. I've looked at it. I really don't have an opinion. I think it's okay to tackle that way. Grab a guy down by the waist and then take your weight off and pull him to the ground. Is that what a hip drop tackle is?
I think the only thing, I went and read the rule. And so I thought that is really the hip drop is that you drop the weight, but you make contact into their lower body as you do it. So if a guy's running and you go from behind and you drop your weight like a standard tackle, that's no problem. And it has to be 2 hands and 2 arms. That's one thing about it. And the other thing is dropping, because that's what makes it particularly vicious, is guys, as they bring them down, they slide their hip or their legs into the back of those legs. I mean, you're unprotected. And stats show, man, a high rate of injuries. I will say this. I don't know. It seems like this is what I think. And Shannon Sharpe said it, and I had to agree with them. I've been watching football a long time, and Shannon Sharpe played for 13 years. Shannon Sharpe said, this is a new way of tackling. Because I played for 13 years. I might have seen that just one time. I agree with them. I've only started noticing it in the last 7 or 8 years. And when I see it, I go, oh, dude. You went down and you threw your knee into the back of that guy's leg, and you see guys already writhing in pain. I'm like, that's weird. It seems like I hate to think if players are trying to hurt other players,
right.
And maybe they're not. They're saying, look, this is how I can bring this guy down.
Yeah.
I get him around the waist, my legs go into the back of his legs, and he goes down. Yeah. And I get it, but that has not been around. And you know what? Another one that wasn't was the horse collar. Yeah. Now, guys did grab, but once guys started realizing, hey, I can get up behind that guy's neck, and that's attached to his shoulder pads. Why grab the shoulder pads? I'm going to get right behind his head and yank him back. And then people started seeing knees pop and shit because and so that's going to, I think it's good, but I agree with you. What's going to happen in the game for calling it? And is it going to be touch and go? Is it going to be, how are the refs going to really see that? Are they going to overcall it? Anytime someone gets tackled from behind, are we going to see a flag come out? So anyway, it'll be interesting. I think it'll be good, but how can it be administered? That's the problem.
Yeah, that's the only problem I see with it. How do they call it? So
how do they call it?
I'd like to see, like the UFL, I'd like to see somebody in a booth somewhere reviewing stuff. I think we talked about it. Just get the call right. Who gives a shit if the official got it wrong or something? They're human. Like you said, everything happens in a blink of an eye. You might not have seen it. You might have just looked over and just saw what happened. So having somebody like Mike Piero or Dan Blandino up there watching, just throwing a rule down there. He didn't quite get it. That looks like the UFL does that. No, it looks like he didn't call it right. That was definitely a foul. And so that brings me to go ahead.
That's great, though. And I agree that they should do that. And you know what? They can even give the benefit of the doubt to the ref.
Yes.
If they feel like, I'm not going to reverse that. I'm going to give the ref the call, even though, it looks a little close. Right. And we're not talking about that. We're talking about when they kind of whiff it. That's the problem. When you whiff a pass interference or you call one of those hip drop tackles and the guy really didn't make contact with the guy's legs, that's what we want to see reversed. And I think, honestly, you and I could handle that job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just put me and you in the
do it. They do it in slow motion. He's got a little knob and he goes real slow and he can see exactly everything that's going on. So he
scrubs it over and scrubs it back. Okay. See what I mean?
Yeah.
We just want a bunch of fried chicken and a keg of beer and we'll be fine.
Yeah.
So now that would be good. Now the big thing, and this new kickoff, I was lagging on getting on board with seeing how it works. So I had to watch a bunch of videos and now did this come from the XFL?
It came from either the USFL or the XFL.
Okay. Well,
it was slightly different, but it's the same thing.
Right. They probably fine-tuned it. I'm telling you, I was ready not to like it. I thought it was going to be stupid. But I've watched a little bit of it and I'm like, this is, instead of the ball going out of the end zone every time, I think this adds a little something to it. And putting the lines together, I think one team is on the kicker kicks off from his 35.
Right.
Then on the other side of the 50 is the kickoff team lines up on like the 40. The receiving team lines up on the 35. They're only 5 yards apart.
Right.
Which I think was the injury problem because guys were running 45 yards at full steam and just cracking heads. And that's where the NFL said, hey, we're just having too many injuries on these kickoffs. But now this is the weird part. There's a landing zone, right?
Right. From the 20 to the goal.
Okay.
And the ball has to land within the landing zone, or the guy has to catch it. One of those two things. And so as soon as either the guy catches it or it hits the landing zone, then the two teams can move. But they can't, the kicking team can't move and the receiving team can't move from their lines until it hits the ground in the landing zone or the guy catches it. Then they can go. And that's interesting in and of itself. It makes it more like an offensive play rather than a kickoff.
Yeah. It does. And so now here's the thing. There's some penalties. If you come up short of that zone,
right,
you get the other team gets the ball on the 40.
On the 40. I think if it hits short, it just stops. It's not like the guy goes and tries to get it or anything. If it hits short, boom, you're done. Hits short, bounces out of bounds, whatever.
Yeah. Right. And that goes for out of bounds too. So even if the guy kicks it like to the left side and it lands in the zone but goes out of bounds, it's still back out to the 40, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. And now if he kicks it into the end zone or it goes out of the end zone, it ends up on the 35.
Correct.
Okay, that's fair. It sort of is good. It makes the kickers have to kick it somewhat fairly. But also the receiving team, you have to field that ball in the zone. Mm-hmm. There's no just letting it go. I mean, it's like a regular kickoff. It's a live ball, right?
Yes. If for some reason it landed in the landing zone and the receiving team couldn't get to it, but the kicking team ran and got it, they could jump on it and it would be a live ball. I'm hard pressed to figure a situation where that would really happen. And unless
I know
receiving guy was way to the right and he somehow kicked it way to the left, I don't know. It would be hard. So
one thing I read too now, because they did last year, for a couple of years they instituted a fair catch on kickoffs, but there's no fair catch anymore.
No more fair catch.
Now here's another thing. Can you have two returners?
You can have two returners. That would put 9 people on the front and 2 in the back. And you may want to do that if you want to do like a lateral or something.
Sure.
Or even have another, like a fullbacky type, somebody leading the block for you. And you I don't know. You know what I mean? Some kind of lateral, some kind of blocking guy. And then also the receiving team can pull a guy like I'm pulling a guard,
right?
A certain spot to open up a hole, like power blocking. I think they still got to try and people are going to figure stuff out.
Oh yeah,
try and make it work for them. So
yeah. I agree. I mean, like you said, you can pull a guy, you can like pick a gap that you're gonna run through.
Right.
Say, hey, we're gonna run through this gap, we're gonna find it, and then we're gonna pull, and you follow that guy in. And like you said, the guy could pull and go in the gap, and then that other returner could run into that gap.
Yes.
You can do a lot of different things. So that's interesting. I did read too that the return rate in the NFL got down to as low as 22% last year.
Yeah.
So now you can see why the NFL is going, that's boring, man.
Right.
That's worse than an extra point. There's no excitement, although they have made it a little more exciting by dropping the extra point back. But, I think this is kind of a cool change.
Yeah. The only other little tiny thing there is that the kicker can't pass the 50-yard line until the ball hits in the landing zone or the guy catches it.
Oh, okay, good. So he can't boot it and then just start chugging downfield.
Right. No, he's got to wait at the 50 until it hits the ground or the guy catches. I thought that was a minor.
Yeah. Jesus, dude, we're going to need 3 line judges. You need a line judge for the kicker, a line judge for, because people are going to move too soon. People are going to jump, and that'll be interesting.
Then the only other thing is the penalty against the receiving team would be if like the ball hits in the landing zone and dribbles into the end zone and the guy downs it, they only get the ball on the 20. So this whole thing is geared towards getting the offense to be able to start either through a couple things at 35 or the 40 or running the ball back. I've noticed watching before USFL or XFL, whichever one, they would, running it back would get you to at least like the 30 or the 35. You know what I mean? So that starts you off in a better position than, say, letting it go out of the end zone at the 25 or like it used to be at the freaking 20. So makes it hard to get out of there. So it's all geared towards scoring more points for the offense, because the offensive point scoring dropped by like 5 points last year or something like that. So NFL can't have that.
No. And that's 5 points is a lot.
On an average.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of, going along. So, well, all that seems pretty good to me. You mentioned another thing about throwing the red flag. There was a new rule. What was that about?
That's a good one. It's what maybe we didn't talk about it, but it always made sense to me was if you throw the red flag and you get it right, you get the flag back.
See, to me, that makes
sense, right?
I never understood that. I never understood that way. It's like you got penalized for basically doing the right thing.
Yeah, exactly.
You challenged a bad call. They missed the call. That's not on you. And then they go, yeah, but that's the only one you get.
Right. No, I like it.
No.
I like it.
Yeah. So do you get one more, or after? Say, let's say you challenge again.
Rule? You get one per half, or just one?
Yeah.
One per half.
Yeah. We'll have to look into that. So maybe you don't. Maybe you call one, and then let's say you do it a second time. But even after that, even if you're right for the rest of that half, and that sort of makes sense, because I don't know if you want red flags like 4 or 5 a half, but at least they did some. That I think that was a smart rule.
Exactly. It's smart. Funny. In the UFL, you can throw a red flag, and it's a red flag for anything. You think the coach stepped on the field, had a foot on inside the fucking field, or you thought a cheerleader interfered, or you thought whatever. If there was a holding that the ref didn't call, and you saw the offense holding, you could throw the flag and say, "Hey, we saw the offense holding. We want
no way.
Call." Yeah,
are you serious?
They'll look at it and they'll say, "Yeah, he's holding," and so anything goes red flag. I thought that was kind of cool.
I like it. Yeah. Like you could even check. You could say, "Hey, that football.
Yeah.
Check the inflation.
Yeah,
16 pounds PSI, brother."
All right. Well, I think we covered everything.
I think we did.
We were going to cover. We made it through. I think we're less than a minute to go here, so we're going to have to say our goodbyes. We appreciate everybody being here today. Get in the comment section and say something. You know the whole deal.
Yep.
Yeah. BH, thank you.
You're welcome. Camps are coming up, so that's going to be a lot of fun preseason. It'll be here before we know it, man.
Awesome.
All right, man. Bye, everybody.